Well, Europe is no longer relying on luck and is preparing for war. France is officially putting civilian hospitals on alert to receive thousands of wounded in the event of a major conflict by March 2026. This is not a rumor, this is already a letter from the French Ministry of Health to the regions, confirmed by the French Ministry of Defense. The wording is strict. Be ready to receive thousands of military personnel and foreign servicemen within 10 to 180 days. Deploy transit centers near airports and ports planned for personnel mobilization. Against this backdrop, the latest statement from NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, who says that a modern Russian missile can reach The Hague in 5 to 10 minutes. Distance no longer equals safety, and one more detail that explains everything, no metaphors. Ursula von der Leyen's plane in Bulgaria a couple of days ago was landing using paper maps because global positioning system was down, and in Brussels, this is being linked to Russian global positioning system jamming. As you can see, Europe is preparing not for an abstract war, but for the specific technical reality of war. Let's review these aspects together in this episode. I'm Pechiy. Today is September 3rd on the calendar. And before we begin, let me remind you that this YouTube channel releases 4 to 5 news analysis segments every day. So that you stay informed about all the key news in the world, be sure to subscribe to this channel and like this episode. So let's start by gathering the facts. French media report that in a letter dated July 18, the French Ministry of Health instructed regional health agencies to prepare a system by March 2026 in case of a major disaster. The scenario involves a major conflict, including the reception of both French and foreign military personnel, to set up medical hubs at transportation centers in airports and ports, and to be prepared for resource limitations in wartime conditions. Euronews, the minister adds, emphasizes that the measures are preventive in nature, but they must be ready for the mass admission of the wounded. At the same time, Associated Press reports that NATO is working on countering Russian global positioning system jamming after the incident with the plane of the head of the European Commission. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte calls this part of a hybrid campaign ranging from sabotage to navigation spoofing. And finally, European and Ukrainian media simultaneously quote Mark Rutte, quote, "A Russian missile could reach us in a matter of minutes. That means we stop living under the illusion of distance." What does all this mean in practice? First, the culture of civil defense is coming back like during the Cold War, but now in the 2025 version. That means cyber attacks and electronic warfare are now on par with bombs. If earlier the readiness of hospitals seemed like some kind of Cold War era relic, now it's part of NATO's logistics. Stabilization, triage, and evacuation of wounded apply to both our troops and foreign military personnel. This is stated directly in the letters from the French Ministry of Health. The second issue is airspace. Here's the story with the Bulgarian S. The city of Plovdiv, where Ursula von der Leyen's plane landed. This is not just an episode. This is an instruction for action. Backup beacons, ground references, accurate maps, 24/7 shifts in air defense and insurance markets that will require airlines to implement new security procedures. Third, this is politics. At the moment when Paris says that we are preparing the healthcare system to receive wounded from the war, this debate over helping Ukraine is shifting from a moral issue to a technical one. Well, that means you won't help. Tomorrow, this hospital system in France will be working for your citizens, for the French, and generally for Europeans. Now, direct speech and consequences. NDTV is French media quoting the ministry's wording. Hospitals must recognize wartime limits and be ready to assist during mass casualty admissions. This translates into plain language as follows. These include beds, cots, blood, staff, logistics, security, and communications. All of this should be prepared in advance, not after the first reports of wounded European soldiers. As for global positioning system jamming, Associated Press writes that NATO considers jamming and spoofing to be a permanent threat and is ramping up countermeasures. In practical terms, this means that the word civilian stops being a protection. Navigation can be disrupted at any moment. That's everyone, the world where Russia exists. It sets the rule that even if it's a civilian aircraft, a civilian plane, there's no guarantee of safety for it. Well, the Malaysian Boeing shot down by Russians in the sky over Donbass in 2014 is clear proof of that. Europe ignored this for a long time. So, the military mission of the European Union in Ukraine, which will be discussed tomorrow, September 4, in Paris, will be built around basic fundamental things. Maintenance of equipment and weapons inside Ukraine, training of the armed forces of Ukraine, soldiers in Ukraine, communication issues, air defense issues, electronic warfare issues, and all of this inside Ukraine. So the diagnostics, repair, and return of equipment takes weeks instead of months. And for Ukraine, all of this is good news, but with a tough lesson. It's good because European politics has crossed this threshold from talk to schedules, meaning planning what to do if. It's tough because a schedule means waiting. This means that the European continent is entering at least a kind of Cold War mode. Europeans will hold Kiev accountable for real organization. Where are the repair hubs? Where is the security? Where are the protocols for the resilience of power grids under attack? Where is the personnel accounting? This is mature no romance kind of assistance, and it is exactly that. All this assistance is the protection of Europe itself. A stable Ukrainian sky reduces the risk of hybrid attacks on European aircraft. There they land planes with paper maps. The less likely it is that French hospitals will actually have to take in thousands and thousands of wounded European soldiers. Europe is constructing a large-scale iron framework, including hospitals, air defense, electronic warfare, and energy resilience. There is no place for emotions in this framework, but there are budgets, shifts, precise readiness times, and so on. And this, strangely enough, is the best gift for Ukraine. Allies who do things that can't just be undone later with, a tweet. Any statement can be reversed, as seen with Donald Trump. But when real actions begin, it's much harder to roll them back. Plus, there's a biting but necessary remark from Mark Rutte, who says, listen, a Russian missile could reach The Hague in 5 to 10 minutes. Don't think that we're far away from this war. No, we're actually very close. Whether we like it or not, as Mark Rutte tells us, this phrase is the best argument against any doubts. Let's wait, let's not escalate the situation. What? If we give Ukraine some kind of weapon, Putin will get angry? That's it. This era is finally coming to an end. Actions are beginning. I'll leave it at that. Share your opinions and conclusions in the comments below this episode. And let me remind you, friends, this YouTube channel posts 5 new news and analysis episodes daily. So that you stay up to date with all the main events, make sure to subscribe to this channel. That's it for now. Take care. Goodbye, everyone.